And welcome back to another edition of the Blue Review. Today, just corporate Greg and myself, Parker Bell. We're glad to be here. We will get into a whole bunch today. We got Walker Buehler's return to get into. Ohtani continues to just lead the league in everything. I don't know.
He's incredible.
It's insane. We got a whole bunch. We got, looking at Walker's return, I already mentioned, but everything else from the top of the bottom of the lineup, we kind of want to get into that. Vesia got a save. We're going to get into that.
I know.
And
don't worry.
More.
I know.
Tons more, Greg. But before we do, I'll remind everyone that the Blue Review here is presented by LAX. And over at Los Angeles International Airport, there are changes arriving daily, reducing traffic, saving guest time. And for more information, you can find that out at flylax.com/transforminglax. So, Greg, let's get right into this. Dodgers win. They beat down the Miami Marlins, one of the worst offenses in the league, 6-3. Let's do it. Let's start with Walker Buehler. This is what everyone wanted to talk about. This is what everyone's been talking about. I'll start with you. What did you think? Just initial thoughts on his performance.
So I love seeing him back out there. It was not some amazing performance. He was actually not, sharp. He wasn't great. But for the fact of the matter was he was good enough, and he's kind of found his rhythm there towards the end of the third inning and into the fourth. Obviously, him going 4 innings is exactly basically, I would say it was exactly what we expected to happen for just a little over 3 innings. Anything over 3 innings, I was ecstatic about. He got 4. He had 4 strikeouts. He had 70 some pitches. There wasn't anything too much to worry about. He was throwing his pitches well, but just weren't really, really safe. And I want to get into that a little bit later because there was a really cool interaction between Clayton Kershaw and Oral Hershiser about how Buehler was pitching in the game last night. That I thought was really cool. But otherwise, I really thought that he did exactly kind of what you expected to, and he's just going to get better and better. Now, I do want to say we were all very excited to see Walker Buehler, right? There's only one person that can really encapsulate and can really tell us what it means to see Walker Buehler out on the mound, and it's Magic Johnson. He is just the best at this. Dodger Nation, let's welcome back Walker Buehler. He's pitching his first game for the Men in Blue in 20 months. Good luck tonight.
Right on the nose.
Right on the nose. Thank you very much, Magic. Without you, we would have no idea that he was pitching. Oh, God, he's just the best, and his AI is out of control. But
that's
to me, it's funny.
What we could call it, the AI.
So what did you see? I mean, you watched the game. What did you think of Walker last night?
Yeah, first off, just the fact of the matter is we got to see Walker Buehler's first strikeout in 2024, and that was just amazing. The fact that the first thing you see was off that gun, 96. Incredible. And I know he mentioned it himself. He said it may have been I'm paraphrasing here, but may have been the jitters. He was excited, amped up, and maybe that's what it was. But he was averaging around 96 to 97, and you saw 98 hit the gun as well. So for me, just seeing that, I know that tomorrow this morning, he's going to be feeling like he was laying on a bed of nails. He's going to be feeling sore. But just the fact that he was able to go that amount of innings, go 77 pitches, and still look throughout the whole time confident, and he didn't lose his head after a few runs early on. This is super, super exciting. I mean, the Dodgers, it's encouraging. That's the word that I was looking for. This is all the Dodgers could ask for. And moving forward, I mean, you now have a guy that you could rely on in Walker Buehler, and you're going to get another few guys back. It's exciting. I mean, but every time we get something exciting, we lose somebody to the IL. We'll get into that later.
Joe Kelly. It's too bad.
It's rough. But sticking on Walker, just a solid performance, exactly what you and Marcus kind of predicted yesterday. So I'm glad to see that, and that's not much more we could say. I'm like Magic Johnson. Walker Buehler's back after 20 months.
Yeah, it's encouraging. It's exciting to see. I'm happy that he's back. I thought there was some parts of that game he didn't look great early on, but he was just giving up singles, and in the second inning he was giving up jacks and long deep fly balls. Those will be a problem, but he'll figure it out. What are you gonna say?
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna just say that one jack though. I mean, Pages almost took it back.
It was actually in his glove. It was right
there
in his glove, and then from hitting on the top, it fell over. But that would have been an amazing, amazing catch from Pages. I thought he had it.
I mean, that would have given Walker maybe another inning out of him. He might have got to 5 and got the W.
Maybe. I mean, he was
But I
already
think
around that
the
70
high pitch
pitches.
count. Yeah.
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 I mean, the high pitch count it's because he's still coming back. He had a couple walks, but
Exactly.
either way, like he was stretched out. He could have gone longer, but that just made it seem like, okay, there was a pitch count that he had to stick to.
Mm-hmm. I love what he said on Twitter the other day after the game, or yesterday after the game. He's like, for better or for worse, GD, God damn it, it was good to be back. So he himself, it's just super encouraging, like we keep mentioning, to see that, one, he looked good, and two, mentally, he's just like, oh yeah, we're back, and I'm ready to just get this thing going, get this ball rolling. And the Dodgers are the hottest team in baseball right now, so no perfect time to get the ball rolling.
Right. That is, and especially playing against the Marlins, a bad team, like you were saying before. I mean, Walker Buehler, when he's going to come out of this game, how he's going to look at it today, I would assume, is that he's probably not happy with his performance. He's not happy with the way he pitched, but he's happy to be out there because it's been so long. I don't think that he's encouraged by the stuff and being able to hit that 96, 97 with his velocity, but I don't think he's happy with how he pitched yesterday. It'll get better. We'll start moving forward, but the fact that he's just out on the mound is very, very happy and encouraging.
Yeah, and I was noticing, I mean, the off speed was looking good too, which is super good to see. A couple of strikeouts he got on that, I believe, the curve.
So to that point, Parker, there's, I don't know if you saw it, but Clayton Kershaw and Oral Hershiser were talking within the game, and with Joe Davis, of course, and they were going back and forth. At the end of it, it was really, really cool. Right. Kershaw asked Oral a question, and it just sounded like two dudes just going back and forth, and they were just having a conversation. They didn't even care that they were on camera anymore. They were just having their own little conversation. I thought it was great. And they were talking about, so what did you see out of the slider? He said, it's just not quite there yet. And Oral was being honest. He wasn't quite there yet. It's missing some of that bite. So I just loved hearing that. And Oral's always going to be honest. And so it was good to hear. And like, you can tell that all those pitches, because plenty of times he got just 2 strikes on these hitters, but he just couldn't put them away, especially early on. Later on, in the 3rd and the 4th, that's when he started to really figure it out and be able to put those guys away and get those strikeout swings and misses. But early on, he just didn't have it.
Yeah. So, I mean, like you mentioned, Oral's always going to be honest. If it's just not there yet, that's really no worries. I mean, you're just going to keep seeing 4 innings here at a time, maybe a 5-inning game every once in a while if he's feeling good. But there's nothing wrong with that. Just to ramp him back into postseason form and just get 60 to 70 pitches here and there every other week. That's good. That's good. Or every other week, once a week. So shout out to Oral and Clayton for kind of being honest to the viewers. Like, don't expect Cy Young level, Walker or the postseason run Walker right off the bat. We got to be patient with this, and you're still getting dubs.
Yeah, exactly. But his next start is going to be one that's a little more telling. He's facing the Padres on Sunday. So if that's going to be a much bigger test for him. And just so what he has, it's a Sunday, so it'll probably be a day game. It's going to be a much better opportunity to see against the lineup of actually good hitters to see what he's got.
Yeah,
and so because that game could have very easily gotten away from him in the 1st and 2nd inning. So to be able to hold it back was helpful against the team with better hitters. We'll see how it goes on Sunday.
Yeah, as long as that velo's there, we can only hope for the best. But looking at the game outside of Walker, we can maybe talk about him more. If the chat has some questions about him later on, we'd definitely love to get into those. But looking at everything else, Ohtani, another dinger. I mean, shout out to him and Freddie for going back to back. I don't know if that's happened yet this season.
I think that was the first time.
Great to see. The stadium was rocking. And hopefully you see one tonight because I know you're going to be there.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up a little later, but yes, I will be at the game with Scott Kaplan. So, and I think maybe Morales as well. I don't know, but if you're at the game tonight, come find us. We're going to be walking around, probably around the field, Loge, somewhere around there. If you see us, I'll buy you a beer. I'm going to put it out there right now. Happy to do it. Just not Dead Meow because he's dead meow. I'm just kidding. I would get it for you too, buddy.
So the stadium rocket, Ohtani just leading the league in everything. Average 370 home runs, 11 slugging percentage. OPS is just an absurd number. Looking at his performance last night, I mean, just what I noticed, the fact that he was doing the things with the bat, but also on the base paths. I mean, 2 stolen bases and he drew a walk. The guy is doing everything for the Dodgers right now. What are your kind of thoughts? I know we just continue to praise him on the Blue Review. but what else can we do?
Dude, there's nothing to do but praise him because look, I was talking about with Travis earlier this morning, and actually in the game last night.
Mhm.
When he hits, there's just this magnificent loud crack of the bat that I just haven't really
Mhm.
heard from too many. There's so few players that do that. Pujols, when he was young, did that. Stanton has that crack. Judge has that crack, but there's so few players that have the amount of power that he has. And when he hit that home run and it came off the bat and you heard it, you're just like, oh my God, your
Yeah.
eyes light up. It's incredible to hear. I hope I get to see it tonight because that was absolutely amazing. And I don't know, I mean, you know better. You're an Angels fan on the side, so like maybe it's just because it's Anaheim, it's because of the Angels. I just didn't pay it. I paid attention to him, but
Mhm.
I just don't remember him being this good and having this much power. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just because I'm watching every single day,
Yeah.
but you watched
Well,
him every day.
okay, so to your point, I kind of want to circle back to that home run specifically. If you're watching the TV broadcast and you heard the call of it, as soon as it went off the bat, they go, "Oh, it sounded like a shotgun." And it was one of the coolest calls I've ever heard because
Right, yeah.
that is your initial reaction. If you're listening and you hear that pop of the bat, nobody in the league outside of, like you said, a handful of guys has that kind of power. But if you're looking at it on a, you know, in hindsight and looking back during his Angels tenure, the power I would say is always there. But this stretch that he's doing right now is possibly his best stretch in his career at the plate. Like these last 15 to 20 games, what he's doing, honestly, he's put up amazing numbers before, but this is actually something that even I've never seen as a longtime, follower of
But
Shohei.
yeah, well, he's playing on a good team with other good players, so he
Exactly.
has more opportunities to bring guys in. It's more fun because he can do. Jorge's being ridiculous, um, but he has guys on his team that are you're winning games that you should have lost. And these
Mm-hmm.
games, when he was with the Angels, these types of games, if he went, on Sunday when he had 2 home runs and he was 4 for 4, they still would have lost 10-2 or 10-3. Like they still were going to lose those games. Now he does these things and it's just adding to the team. They're just putting up extra runs on top
Yeah.
of it. They're beating teams like the Braves. They're sweeping teams like the Braves. That wasn't happening in Anaheim. So for him, he's more at ease. He knows that if he does have a bad day, he's got 8 other dudes that are going to pick him up and do well behind him. It's just not happening. It wasn't happening there. So yeah, what he's done these last couple weeks has been just completely eye-opening, and he's just an absolutely amazing player. And I don't even know what other words to say about him.
Yeah, you know what name we don't hear anymore now that he's a Dodger? Tungsten Arm O'Doyle.
No, no.
For those baseball Twitter followers, you know that every time Ohtani did something crazy and the Angels lost, like you said, 10-2, it was it's like a Wilt Chamberlain stat.
Yeah.
First person to ever hit 2 home runs and strike out 12 guys and lose
And
10-2.
lose.
Yeah. Gosh, well, glad those days are over. The rest of the lineup, everybody else, what did you see? I know Freddie had the home run, and he's still not necessarily at the Freddie that we saw last year, but still performing. It's very weird dynamic watching Freddie at the moment.
Like if you look,
I'll stick with him. Yeah, go ahead and
yeah, if you look at Freddie's stats, like he has 10 doubles, he has 21 RBIs, he has like 3 home runs. He's batting 292, just under 300. His on base percentage is over 400, and he's upset with himself because he's not fully there. You could tell afterwards he is not the guy that he's expecting himself to be, and he'll be just fine. But he's upset with himself, and he's playing amazing still by just regular. These numbers on any other teams, like, oh yeah, he's fantastic. Look at this. He's our best player on our team. But on this team, he's like the 6th best guy right now. That's kind of crazy to hear, but he's gonna come around. He's still amazing as well. But yeah, he's still in a little bit of a funk, and you can see it and he knows it too. He'll get out of it.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully that home run. I mean, that one barely squeaked over too. I think it was like 381, and it was Gordon out. No, Chisholm, yeah, out there almost pulled that one away too, like Pages did.
It got
Pages
close.
was closer though; it got in his glove.
It actually hit his glove. Yeah.
Teoscar, how encouraging was it to see that? Speaking of just massive, home runs. That thing was actually absolutely nuked. How encouraging was it for you to see him hit one out?
Extremely. He's been playing so much better just over the last week. Like he's going to be one of those guys up and whatever you get out of him is pretty much gravy, and he's playing very, very well right now. So he started off really hot. He was leading the league in home runs for the first couple of weeks, and then he slowed down. He's starting to pick it back up, and that's going to happen with this lineup. So the more that he can do those things, and he's also he's getting on base more. It's not just home run or bust. He's hits doubles, he hits singles. He's playing within the team, and that's what's nice to see. So, yeah, I love seeing Teo get home runs. He's playing good defense. I mean, he's a guy that you're just happy to have on the team. It's, again, like Freddie, on other teams, it's like, this dude's amazing. But on this team, it's like, you're 5'6", somewhere around there.
Yeah. I see in the chat, first off, just shout out to the chat for joining in today. Appreciate all you do. I see producer DeAndre in there.
Hey,
Beto
what's up,
in there.
Beto.
It's great to talk Dodgers with all you guys in the morning. But I saw this last comment. I wanted to point it out for anyone who missed it. Mr. Grimm in the chat says, if anybody does want to witness Ohtani's power and see it, you could check it out from last year, his series against the Rangers, where he hit 4 home runs. All of them were Oppo. I remember that series. It was just ridiculous. So if you want to go pull up those highlights, and then you'll probably see another one tonight. So
that's amazing. That's the amazing thing about it too. He goes oppo so often with these home runs, and like yesterday was dead center, like dead straight center. It was that's the power that this dude has. All right, it's time. We've gone long enough.
I know. Yeah.
Can we just get out of the way? Yeah, just get out of the way.
I got to pull up that clip. That's just you talking about exactly.
I got things to say. All right, I got things to say.
All right, so we'll just start here. The broad general, the bullpen came in, did their thing. So Yarbrough, we'll start there, and then chat. We're gonna get to who we're gonna get to. Yarbrough puts up the 3 innings. I know Robert said post game just the fact that he hadn't pitched in like a week. He hadn't seen the mound, and he came in and just performed exactly what the Dodgers asked of him. No hit, 1 hit, 2 Ks in 3 innings, got the W. What are your thoughts on Yarbrough? And what I saw, I was super encouraged.
So I was very encouraged because that's basically what Ryan Yarbrough's there for. When you need a guy that's going to come in at any point, whether you get knocked out in the first or you get knocked out in the third or the fifth, whatever, if you need length, Ryan Yarbrough's there to give you 3 innings and just automatic 3 innings. He may give up a run here or there, and that's fine, but he's there to just stabilize those middle innings. And he was great at it. You know what also was encouraging? Blake Treinen on back-to-back days.
Boom.
That to me was encouraging after he hasn't been around for however many days. You might have that number. I don't know, but he wasn't around. He came back. He had back-to-back days in AAA. He was off for a couple days, and then he pitched back-to-back days in the first 2 innings for in the Dodger uniform this year. That to me is very, very encouraging. And his stuff is just so nasty when it's on. He looked at it again. He was 6 up, 6 down. We're talking about yesterday and today. So he was 3 up, 3 down yesterday. So it was just really nice to see that. But when it moves, the movement on that pitch is just unhittable. It's crazy to see, and I love seeing that.
Yeah, his last game. If you're speaking of, obviously he pitched the other day, yesterday. His last game was the 2022 NLDS.
Jeez.
So he's been gone that long and came back with that much filth. It's amazing to see. And if Treinen stays healthy, he's probably going to lead the league in holds. I mean, he already has 2 just right off the bat. And to see him going back-to-back games, I know he's actually going to have to, because we can mention it. Joe Kelly, an unfortunate stint to the IL. I know you might have a little more details on what happened there. I think it was a shoulder.
Yeah, it's just his shoulder. I don't have as much details as you're looking for. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's gonna go up and down on the IL. It's just really, to me, I'm sure there is an injury there, but a part of it to me feels like they just want to keep him healthy throughout the year. So they're gonna put him on a couple IL stints as the season goes, just to like, okay, you pitched well, you're doing well. Okay, let's pull you down. We'll bring you back. It's just, he's an older guy, so I'm fine with that.
Yeah. All right. And now here's the time.
Okay.
The game ends 6-3 on a save from our best friend, Alex Vesia, Greg's villain, as he's been known for the Blue Review. Greg, honestly, he looked good until I saw that towering shot out to
See,
center to finish the
that's part of
game.
my thing, Parker.
But
This
I will let you go ahead and vent.
So look, I think he has 10 straight scoreless innings since he was a disaster. And actually, I think it's 10 straight scoreless innings since I started calling him my villain. So
It has been.
that reverse jinx that we were talking about, that's actually happening right now. So I'm going to take full credit for it. I don't care what you guys
As
say
you
in the
should.
chat. I'm taking full credit for the reverse jinx. But he has been looking good. It does worry me. Those long fly balls, there's one a game from Vesia, and look, I'm nitpicking, of course, because that's what we do here, but there's one time a game that he gives up that long fly ball. Eventually that long fly ball is going to land in the seats, and it's going to be something that goes through. I love how he's pitching, though. Overall, how he's been pitching in those 10 outings has been really, really nice to see. He's throwing a slider that's really counteracting the fastball. The fastball was what he was just reliant on for the first couple of years, and he just was not locating it. And since he started incorporating the slider a lot more, it's allowed him to hitters to expect that pitch, and he can start placing his fastball more cleanly and more often. So it's helping him have a mix in his pitch count. Sorry, I'm stumbling a little bit. Mix of his pitches, so that's what's making him actually pitch very, very well. I'm very happy. So I'm happy with the way those things are happening. If he can go back and forth between the slider and the fastball and be able to place that fastball, he's going to be great. It's just that those long fly balls are a little bit of a problem. I love that he got a save. I know Dead Meow just wants me to say I'm sorry. I'm not going to say I'm sorry, because whatever happened back then was what was happening and needed to happen. I think that for the most part, I don't know if it's going to stay this way. It's just not. Can't trust that it's going to stay this way. And I'm not going to say like, okay, I'm so sorry. It was all a mistake. And then him blow up in a couple of weeks and he's just terrible the rest of the way. And then I'm going to be like, okay, see, look what I told you. And I look bad.
Right.
I'm going to stick the way I stick. I still don't fully trust it, but I love how he's pitching right now. Is that fair?
That, I think, is the most fair assessment that we could have gotten out of Greg Bergman of Alex Vesia. And I know the chat just wants to see some beef. Beef
of course.
Beef has just been the theme of the weekend with all the Drake and Kendrick stuff going around. Everybody wants beef, but we give credit when credit is due here at the Blue Review. And if Vesia was walking up and we saw him at a game, Greg Bergman would buy him a beer. I know that
I would buy him a beer. And by the way, Dead Meow, I will buy you a beer if you come. I guess that's just, you mess with me, I mess with you. How about that?
I like that. Well, so we'll kind of wrap things up with the question from the chat, because I saw something that came out this weekend from Andy McCullough, I believe it was. Somebody asked in the chat, when's Bazooka coming back? When is Kershaw coming back? Any news? The last news that we heard, nothing's really been updated. He's going to start throwing from the mound and through, like, I think you mentioned 15 pitches or so from the mound. And that's
Kershaw,
where he's at right now. Yeah, Kershaw. He's going to progress from there. But there was a book that came out about him, actually. So if you want to learn about Kershaw a little more, I believe a biography came out about Kershaw called The Last of His Kind, again, from Andy McCullough, I mentioned. And it just looks like a good book. It's called The Last of His Kind, Clayton Kershaw, and the Burden of Greatness. Just came out today.
No, cool. Then get that. I would love to read that book.
Yeah. Any more we can dive into the stuff about Kershaw would be super cool.
Yeah, maybe we can get Andy McCullough on like next week or something. We can talk about that would be pretty
Speaking
good.
of guests, before we finish off, kind of want to preview who we got this week, because I know the chat loves when we start to getting guests on Blue Review.
Yes. So we're gonna have Alana Rizzo on Friday, and I love Alana. I think she does a great job on foul territory and Dodger territory. I think she's doing a fantastic. When she was with the Dodgers, I loved how she interacted with the players, her insight. I think she knows the game inside and out. So we are going to have Alana Rizzo on Friday from 9:30 to 9:55 with Parker, myself, and Marcus Grant.
That's right. So keep an eye out for that. We'll be back tomorrow with, like Greg said, himself, me, and Marcus Grant. So thank you for joining us today on the Blue Review. We appreciate all 85 plus of you guys. This was a good turnout this morning.
Nice.
We'll be back tomorrow at the same time, 9:30 to 9:55 to talk Dodgers. We will react to Yamamoto's performance and more. So thank you for being here. Thank you to